Rain, rain, go away. Come again, another day. Now, that is a song I learned while I was in kindergarten, and every now and again, when I'm feeling a little bit down, I'll say that to myself because I feel like singing it to myself is a little bit childish, but I'll say it to myself, and no matter where I'm at, what time it is, what time it's going to be, I feel better about myself just because something about the song, something about me saying it, me telling myself, ensuring myself that I'm okay, makes me feel okay about myself. And that is not dependent on the weather whatsoever. I know the song says rain, rain, go away. But the rain could be the gray clouds in your mind. It doesn't have to be literal rain outside your window making the pitter patter. It could be the gray clouds in your mind because all of us have that. And a lot of us make excuses. A lot of us say, oh, it's a little windy outside, so I can't do 10 push-ups. Or, oh, it's hailing, so I'm not going to change the battery in my car. People let the weather dictate whether or not they're going to do something. That's not cool. You can't do that. If you want to get ahead in this life, it doesn't matter if it's windy, if it's hailing, if it's coming down like cats and dogs. You got to go out and you got to do your job. Whatever that is, if it's becoming better, if it's doing homework, if it's going and loading up boxes in a van, you got to do it. We're expected to do these things. We have responsibilities. And that's the least we can do as a productive member of society. We could go out and we can accomplish those responsibilities. Which leads into my next intro topic: choose to be happy. A lot of us out there are not choosing to be happy. And there are many outlets that allow us to do so. A lot of people claim to have anxiety and depression, and I know that it is a real thing. I'm not taking away the legitimacy of anxiety or depression, but you can choose to try and make it better. Everyone has their different outlets, whatever that may be, whether it may be going and running, going for a jog, jogging the trails. Maybe you like sitting in parks and watching kids. As long as you're not touching them, it's okay. I don't do that myself, but everyone has different outlets. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm not alluding to anything whatsoever. Just choose to be happy. It's plain and simple. Go to therapy. Work out. Storm the Bastille. And for those of you saying that depression and anxiety prevent you from choosing to be happy, you are preventing yourself from being happy. Maybe a little harder for some of us than others, but at the end of the day, I strongly believe all of us have a choice in whether or not we want to be happy. That's all I have to say on that. And for the rest of the show, I'm going to talk about what's going on in my life because I just want to do that. It's my show, so I'm going to. First off, Andre Guzman, I don't know if you guys remember him, but he's back. He's back with a vengeance. Let's hear for Andre Guzman. Now, don't get it wrong. I do not condone this type of behavior, but I have to give it to some guy with persistence. And Andre Guzman, more than anything, has persistence. Now, it's, to some extent, it is kind of logical because we used to be very good friends. And I would show up to this guy's funeral, I'd show up to this guy's wedding. I don't know which would come first, but I would show up to either or. And I really do hope the best goes over for Andre Guzman, but right now he is not the person I needed in my life so that I could progress myself. I think that he poses a threat. I don't know how much of a threat, but any type of threat you should resolve. You should just not be a part of the scene. And he, within the past couple nights, he's been doing the same thing. He'll call me and he'll say, "Hey, what are you up to? And I say, I'm not doing anything except a little homework. Throw him for a curveball. I say, I'm doing a little homework, but not really much. So it's a little ambiguous, just in case he throws up a very compelling proposition that I might want to partake in. It's ambiguous, but it is a clear out for me. Clear, I gotta go this way. I gotta move past go to get my 200, and you're not in the direction of go. So, directly after I say that, of course, he says, well, do you want to hang out? And right off the bat, that's not that compelling for me. It's just not that compelling for me. So I say, no, I don't need to. I'm still doing this homework, but maybe later. Maybe later. But I leave out the maybe later part. I say that in my mind, kind of keeping it still ambiguous in terms of what I can do. Because I like keeping my possibilities open. So for myself, it's ambiguous, but for Andre, it's not ambiguous. I'm telling him, I can't hang out. I'm doing this homework. But what does he do 5 hours later? He shows up at my front door. Why are you showing up at my front door? Might not have been at my front door, but it's in my driveway. He's in my driveway. And so, he's just sitting there, and I walk out, and I say, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? And he says, I'm here for the location. No one comes to Mira Mesa for the location. No one comes to Mira Mesa for the location. I know that's a lie. Don't lie to me. You're in my driveway. So I tell him to fuck off. I'm harsh. I'm raw. I tell him to fuck off. And the next day he pulls up and he says, Yo, what are you up to? I say, nothing. Except for a little homework. Keep on throwing in these curveballs to keep things ambiguous for myself more than anyone. And he takes the bait. And he asks, trying to hang out. I say, no, I'm doing homework. And so he shows up again. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? No one in their logical mind would just show up in someone else's driveway. No one would do that. But you are doing this. Anyways, Andre has been bugging me. And I don't know exactly what to do about that. And the last thing I've seen this week, because I've been keeping my eyes away from the media, away from news sources, away from social media. The only other thing I've seen, because every other podcast talks about it, is the fact that Lou Will is being hated on. Why are we hating on Lou Will? For finding comfort in comfort food? This is America. This is America. But first, this is Cheers, and I'm Chance. Thanks for tuning in, guys. So, guys, what's up, guys? Alright, guys, I'm Chance. Everyone has a podcast, so I guess it's my fucking turn. I got 3 fully loaded cabooses. Cheers. Let's get this bitch rolling. Oh, yeah. $200,000 a year. Right? We know where he's coming from. Go to the beach. Big booty Latina. Illustrating what's wrong in our society. Authentic, handmade, original Chance Cablay. I want humanity to stay on Earth. This is Cheers. Back. We are back, and I am Chance, and it is Wednesday. I'm coming out with this episode late. Might still drop on Wednesday, but I'm filming it late. And honestly, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good to do things on your own agenda. Because this morning I didn't want to do anything when I woke up, so I went for a hike. Just said, fuck it. Let's go throw myself out into nature. Let's go for a hike. So I went on that hike, and it was beautiful. The birds were chirping. I'm pretty sure I saw a blue jay. I don't know if there are blue jays in Southern California, but I'm pretty sure I saw one. Definitely saw a couple lizards. There are a lot of lizards or reptilian creatures in Southern California. That is for sure. But the hike was nice. It let me take off some anxiety. It let me take off some stress. And I just, while I was out there, I wasn't really focusing. Put on a podcast, some of that Joe Rogan, breathing through my nose. I was breathing through my nose. And now, one thing I noticed while I was out on that hike is this is a time where love is in the air. It is floating downwind, especially if you are in San Diego. So I do not know about San Francisco or anywhere north of that. But I just know in San Diego itself, love is floating downwind. And I don't know if it's just started floating around in the wind for me, or it's been floating around because I just started breathing out my nose. So that might make a difference. But as of right now, it is late July, going into August. Find love while it's warm, because you need someone to cuddle up against while it's cold. It's cold. You need that body heat during the winter. During the winter, you need that body heat. You need someone to keep you company whenever your relatives are arguing. Your relatives may be arguing over whether the Greg Hardy that was playing in the NFL or the Greg Hardy that's in the UFC are the same person. And you need someone up to cuddle with during those times, because we know whenever relatives fight, it could take a toll on a person. So you just need some love during that time. And I don't know. I could definitely smell it. I don't know if it's, again, me breathing out my nose or what it is, but I could definitely smell the love in the air. And it's one of those scents that is a little hard to put your finger directly on top of. It definitely has a scent of strawberry. It reminds me of the summers when I used to go down to the river with my mother, and she would pull out some of those strawberry shortcakes out of the ice cooler. And I would suck on those for a little bit. And that was a very sweet strawberry treat. And that's a little bit like what love smells like. But it has a little bit of that lemon zest to it. That's one thing I will acknowledge. As sweet as love is, it does have a little bit of that spice and that bite. Because at the end of the day, what is love? It's a learning experience. It's a connection. It's a relationship. It is an agreement. It's a bond between two people. And not everything is infinite. Not everything in this world is infinite. So that bond may have to come apart. And with that separation, there can be a bite. And that's where I'm saying love is, more than anything, it's a lesson. It is a lesson. And I know it's hard to find love for a lot of people out there, including myself. Right now, love's in the air. Maybe others, I don't know who, but it's in the air. And that doesn't mean someone's standing right around the corner, but it means maybe they are. But in the meantime, you should just spend the time we have right now learning to find love in other things. Find love in other things. It might already be there, and we might be looking a little too hard for it. We may have forgot that the people we care about, for most of us, for the lucky ones, they're still around. Still hanging around. So give a brother a call. Tell him you love him. Send a letter to Maria, your aunt in New York, because you know you haven't called her in 5 years, and God knows what she is doing in upstate New York. Send a letter to Aunt Maria. Maybe try giving your dog a couple more of those bacon bits, because everyone loves them. Who doesn't love bacon? Bacon. And they made it into bit form for your dog. It's accessible. So try it out. Just try finding the love in the people that we already surround ourselves with. And I guarantee you'll be a lot happier at the end of the day. You will be a lot happier at the end of the day if you just focus on the people that are already around you. And so, we go to my next topic. What's been going on in my week besides that? Well, I brought it up earlier, and I know I kind of started off on a rant, but I want to talk about it. Andre Guzman, why are you showing up at my driveway? Why are you just showing up at other people's driveways? Not cool. What it reminds me of is it's a little bit like a little kid trying to get attention. He does one thing that the other person clearly shows they do not like, rubbing them the wrong way. And instead of saying, oh, this is not something they like, let me do something else, they keep on hammering it in. It's like a toddler trying to push a square wooden block into a circular hole. It doesn't work. In terms of geometry, it's not geometrical. They are not adjacent or congruent shapes. Congruent is the right word, but they're not that. And so, why do you keep doing it? It's to learn what shapes react with what other shapes in which way. And so I will give it to these toddlers that are like 4, 5, maybe 6. Try and shove that square into that circle as many times as you want. But when you are 22, do not show up at other people's driveways. And to some extent, I kind of know that everyone needs attention. I acknowledge that. And I will admit, I will show up. I said it earlier, but I would show up to the wedding and the funeral of this man, Andre Guzman. But send a letter telling me that those events are going on. Don't show up in my driveway, especially if you're not getting married and if you're not dead. And if you didn't ask. Those are the 3 prerequisites for you to just be able to show up in my driveway. And I've been alluding to this, but what does he do when he shows up in my driveway? How do I know he shows up in my driveway? He decides to honk his horn for 45 seconds. And at first, I think it's some other spectacular idiot that just wants to get the attention of some other victim in their house. But then Andre calls me and pick up my phone. And what does he say? He says, "You're a little scared, aren't you?" And I say, "No." And right when I say no, I put 2 and 2 together. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Put those pieces together. And I ask, "Are you the one honking your horn outside of my house?" And he burst out into laughter. Hysterical laughter. And I don't get it. It's not funny. At least to me, it's not funny. To the other people that live in my house, it's not funny. But he's laughing for some reason. And so I say, "Bro, this is not funny. You don't just pull up in front of people's houses and honk your horn." And he said, "Calm down, man. You just gotta calm down. It'll be alright. It will be alright." And he was stressed when he said this, so I knew he was in the wrong. And so he pulls off. He gets the vibe. But then he decides to pull back up 10 minutes later. And this is where I do not know what is going through his mind at this moment in time. But he pulls back up. And he calls me. And at this point, I'm already furious. There are fires in my eyes. I am bursting with rage. But he calls me. And he says, "Can I get a soda? Or a pop for those of you in the East." He says, "Can I get a soda?" That is the straw that broke the camel's back. I burst out into mania. I say, "No, why would I give you a soda right now?" And he says, "Bro, come on, it's just a soda. It's just a little fizz." And I ask him, because I'm thoroughly curious what he thinks of this question. I say, "Do you think you actually deserve a soda?" He says, "I know you have soda. That's not the question I asked. That's not the question I asked. I said, do you deserve a soda?" And he said, Yes. So I asked him, what makes you deserve a soda? You driving up in front of my house and blasting your air horn that is made into your car for people that know how to use it. Obviously, you're not one of those people. And he says, you just got to calm down. Everything will straighten itself out. Since then, I've not heard from him, but I'm curious to see what he means by everything will straighten itself out. And lastly, what I want to talk about, Lou William. One of the main reasons I wanted to talk about Lou Williamson. First off, let me make it clear. On my 21st birthday, I saw Lou Will in Vegas. He just so happened to be there. Now, at the time of me making the statement, I'm not sure whether Lou Williamson, the one that went to Magic City for those wings, is the same Lou Will I saw in Vegas. But for those of you out there, I don't really care about football. I don't care about basketball. I'm more of a fan of MMA than anything. And even then, like, sports, kind of like a second string priority to me. But my friend that was with me celebrated my birthday. He told me this is Lou Will. And he was pretty anxious about the whole situation. So it makes me feel like this is some big shot. Alright. The audio cut out. And I'm going to get to the end of this episode quick for a reason. Lou Will was caught at Magic City, which is a strip club in Atlanta. Don't know when else there's a better time to go to a strip club than after your grandfather's funeral. But yeah, he just wanted to get some wings, guys. It's fucking called comfort food for a reason. He's trying to find comfort in the sadness. Get off his back. But I saw him at Vegas during my 21st. And that's all I know about that. But from Chance, this is cheers. Kind of pissed the audio cut out. Hopefully next week will be better. I know next week will be better. I'm figuring out the problems, guys. This is all getting straightened out as we go. Till next time.